Hello guys, today you're gonna hear what got me to naturopathy. So I've been quite on a health and wellness journey for quite some time. I was raised in a family that kind of practiced similar to Ayurvedic medicine. You know, we had herbs and spices at home that we would always use as medicine. So I was used to not taking a medicine until I absolutely needed to. And one of the things that I learned really early on was how to use food as medicine. Now, growing up, I had the option to come to Canada to pursue education, and I had chosen not to go the medical doctor route. So being a doctor was not the plan. What ended up happening was I ended up having a lot of body pains, period pains specifically, debilitating to the point I was nauseous, I wanted to vomit, I was crunched up on the floor and I couldn't move, and it was so hard. And I was also a university student at that point in my second year, just really hated having to get those doctor's notes and going in. And so as a young 20-something-year-old, I figured I'll just go to a doctor, they'll offer some solution, and of course those were pain medications that didn't work. Yes, my pain was that bad. Birth control that would change the way I would feel and didn't really like it, and also it wasn't really a permanent fix. So I really wanted to look into a more deeper root cause solution. However, every doctor said this just happens to girls, and period pain was kind of normalized, which it isn't. If you are feeling debilitated, you cannot move, you cannot walk, you cannot do your regular activities. Today I am on it and I am jumping around and recording this video, and so free of that pain. And so I'm really hoping this video reaches those of you who are having to get those doctor notes or work notes. And then everyone's like, where is Aisha? Why is she disappearing every month? And I really didn't want to have to answer, and I felt like my body was just kind of breaking down on me, and I was just, this such personal thing, and fair enough, not tabooing this, that we shouldn't talk about period and educate both men and women on this, but it really felt like a personal thing that I didn't want to share at that point, and I was still learning to own into my body and who I was, and this just felt really unnecessary. Anyhow, I went along, graduated, and then went into the pharmaceutical world, started working as a microbiologist. This is where I then also had to get doctor notes there, and just once I remember leaving my shift so that I could just be home because I was in so much pain, and I had forgotten to bring in pain medication, a hot pack, and those sort of things. And then the next day I literally had to go in and talk to the supervisor or the manager, and how embarrassing for me to have those conversations, but also to explain that my pain isn't normal, or that I'm experiencing that much pain that I actually cannot function, because there is a spectrum where 0 to 10 being really bad. Mine was probably 20 out of 10, like back-breaking pain. And it also didn't make any sense because I was fine before I came to Canada. I didn't have such pain, and this is a story that I hear in practice all the time, where women are like, you know what, it worsened. And when we take their histories, when something happened, for me it was a change in lifestyle. I still was pretty athletic. I was into sports quite a bit. Yes, so the things that I wasn't doing, let's get to that. So the things that I wasn't doing were things like managing my stress. Really, it came down to understanding how to regulate my nervous system. I was doing other things like, being active, exercise. I was quite a bit into yoga, Pilates, and staying active in any other way. So, played basketball back then, and there was a lot that I felt in terms of activity was happening, but it wasn't translating into my body. From a food standpoint, yes, there were things that I needed to recognize and correct, although I thought I was eating healthy, which to a lot of us translates to as eating fruits and vegetables, or maybe eating enough protein. Yes, but eating healthy, the holistic way to it is, does this diet suit your individual body? So I had to really figure out that dairy does not agree with my body. A lot of gluten does not agree with my body. It's very inflammatory. And so we'll not get into the conversation of gluten here in North America compared to different parts of the world, which is where my pursuit for health took me, to places like Germany, Spain, Switzerland, Italy, and learning that grains over there are processed much differently than they are over here, and there are consequential effects. So it really came down to, okay, let's clean up the diet, but then I still didn't see the change, and I was still in pain. I still had to rely on medication. Advil was my best friend, and I would take it around. I had to take extra strength. Doctors told me to take it, a few days before so that the pain could be manageable. Yes, to this point, a little bit things started to settle in, but because I wasn't addressing the root of root causes, which was stress regulation, I had also not identified that I had actually picked up a lot of high functioning anxiety, and probably was feeling a lot of that as well, and never connected those pieces together till I walked into a naturopathic doctor's office. disclaimer, I didn't know he was a naturopathic doctor, thought he was just an amazing, awesome doctor. And so that's where in the first session it blew me away, because he got to spend more than 15 minutes with me, which meant he spent an hour with me and he could connect the dots of my life. A lot more conversations could be had. He asked me things about, okay, so let's draw a timeline of when your pain started. What was happening then? That's probably a really important question to answer. My stress was really high. I remember second year, I went to Waterloo, by the way. What Waterloo, to you Waterloo grads out there. And I had recognized that I was probably not feeling this program for me. I thought it was too easy. I wanted it, and I was an international student. My dad was paying big bucks for me, and I was like, I'm not even feeling what I thought I would. And so I wanted to switch into a program such as biomedical engineering or biophysics. Yeah, I know it's not the regular, I'll just stick with me for a reason. And that crisis plus, trying to perform in your life, trying to feel fulfilled, not learning how to regulate your stress. And as students, we really do not pick up those skills till much later. And even then, do we really? Till a crisis breaks us, right? And so I had recognized that my anxiety was really high, my stress was really high. I walked into an exam at 2 p.m. and the exam was at 10 a.m. Yeah, that's how much overwhelm was going on, and I had to recognize that. But it took that one session for a really good doctor to sit down and connect the pieces for me to recognize that, okay, there's a lot more happening here. And the oddest thing is, it just made so much sense. It took me some days to recognize that it was actually really simple and it made a lot of sense. The whys that I had been chasing or looking for were finally being met with answers, and I recognized, like, oh my goodness. So I stuck with the treatment plan that he had put in place for me. Yes, there was some diet stuff. Yes, there was some supplements that, again, we use short term. I think naturopathic doctors get coined as doctors who give a pill, but it's a supplement instead of a medication. Now, understand the term supplement means to supplement with something. So you have to correct your foundational diet, lifestyle stuff, the root causes, so to speak, and then move to supplementation. Supplements aren't just vitamins, multivitamins, vitamin D, iron, and those kind of things. Supplements are also plants that we use and study as herbs, and we study them similar to how pharmaceuticals are studied. We look at how effective is it research, what's the dose, how long should you take it, and we comparatively are looking also with medication. So one of my previous shorts, posts, reels is on ginger and ibuprofen being compared for period pain, and I wish I knew this earlier, because today if I feel like I haven't done well in my diet and managed my stress and pains maybe coming in, I will start taking ginger. Either ginger capsule forms is what's been studied, but I will use fresh ginger, dried ginger, boil it and take it. Now there's a lot more to ginger as just an herb. There's the energetics of it. We might not get into it a little bit. Maybe I'll touch upon it, which is you need that warming component, and me as an individual always cold hands and feet, even in summer. It's 27 degrees, guys, today, and I have cold hands and feet and a little bit of cold sweats because I'm doing this video. And so I recognize that there is so much more to health, and medication is absolutely needed when needed, right? Like if I have a throbbing headache or someone walks in with that, I'm likely going to recommend a Tylenol. But if that pain comes again and again, that's not really offering a permanent solution, is it? And this is really me as patient first who made the switch from being a microbiologist to a naturopath. And I don't think the journey is still done because I'm still a patient very much today. And that's what I bring to practice, is this patient approach front. And in these sessions, it's really about you bringing your questions, having a conversation. Education and empowerment is so important. Why did my body break down on me is what I was trying to answer. I wanted to know, why was the pain so bad and debilitated when everyone said I was this young, athletic, little happy girl who just, wanted to go and do things in the world. I hate for any young girls to be feeling this. There is a more holistic route and ways to healing. Now, it boiled down to, and I'm not saying this is a one-size-fits-all solution, guys. It's not. Please talk to your doctor. This is meant as education. So let's put that disclaimer out there. And this is my story that I'm sharing as well, first and foremost, as patient first, then became doctor, that there was a lot of stress regulation that had to be done. And notice, this is a question that I'll ask as a prompt to a lot of patients, is that, do you notice your pain go away when you're on vacation, or you're in such beautiful spots and you don't have a lot of overwhelming stress going on? Do you notice that your pain is tolerable? And so they'll say, yes, Dr. Durrani, you know what? I was on vacation this month and things were well. So our periods are our body's report cards. Every month, your body, once you turn of age, is focused on releasing an egg called ovulation, the prime event, not the period. After ovulation, a woman's body switches mode. She goes from, instead of wanting to do things and go, she wants to slow down. She wants to relax. Because this is the body preparing for a possible conception. Your body doesn't know that you do not want to conceive. So, for the last half of your cycle, which is called the luteal phase, you're meant to kind of tune into your body and recognize, where can I slow down? So today is my week of the luteal phase, and so today's a day off. I will see less patients, block my schedule, do a lot more self-care. A lot of stuff may come up in this time. So this is from the energetics of it, where a woman is more sensitive to her surrounding. This is also why you don't wax yourself in this time, ladies. We know that physically more sensitive, but guess what? Also emotionally, and your nervous system also is a bit more heightened. It's not to say that these are things that trigger you in this time, so we blame it as, oh, it's PMS time, and we talk of it as a negative thing. In reality, it's what was beneath the surface. It's just a bit more heightened. It's just more amplified. And so it's an opportunity for you to pay attention to, okay, you know what? I didn't deal with this. I need to deal with it, because guess what? If you don't, it's going to show up the next cycle and the next cycle, and I kid you not, it will start to become louder and louder. And this is the wisdom of the body and the God and the Creator who created you. I look at women as these beautiful creatures who we're kind of the modifiers in our environment. So whether you're within a family circle, wherever you're at, you are this beautiful creature who can bring to light many things. And if you really tap into your body in this time, you will find I have a lot of creative ideas in this time. And this is why we talk of women as creators, not just where we birth and bring life into the world, but also ideas. And this is, yes, from the feminine essence, but this truly, you will notice, magically increases around this time. And so I have to sticky note a lot of ideas and write it in my book. So as we get into now balancing and tuning in, becoming harmonious with our body, we recognize that things settle in. How many of you have walked into a doctor's office like I did many moons ago and had your blood work done because you had all the signs and symptoms, debilitating period pains, maybe irregular, and have your blood work shown normal, including those who might have had diagnoses like PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids. The ultrasounds might pick something up, and I'm not saying to not get those things done. Please always talk to your doctor. They know best for your individual case what to do. But this was where it became so confusing, because I was like, my blood work shows fine, my ultrasound is fine, so where is the problem? And it lied within the blueprint of the body, the nervous system, regulating it, learning about things like stress management, figuring out what are the things that I'm holding on that are beliefs that are causing a lot of daily cortisol release and dysregulation, which isn't just dysregulating me on a mental emotional level, where you might just feel anxious, on edge, irritable, maybe you shut down, maybe you are someone who's easily, just get angry easily, or you cry easily. And remember, these things get heightened before close to the time of the month if you don't deal with them. Dealing with them on a day-to-day basis is where your body then turns off or checks off the fight or flight, and it's like it can regulate itself, which means that at the event of a woman's body, which is ovulation, things go smoothly after. Her body feels safe enough to release. It's so important. And for those of you who are in relationships, notice that when you feel safe and secure in your partnership, doesn't your body feel relaxed? That month, your period might even flow with no pain. And this is where we really need to understand the software that's built into us. Our nervous system is really regulating a lot of pieces. Today we're talking about hormones. So this is the part where I'm helping you connect. When a woman's body goes into fight or flight, cortisol will have a direct effect on how her body produces hormones and eliminates them. And this is where these things show up as signs and symptoms for you to recognize that you're off balance. My journey became about, yes, regulating myself. I did yoga. I was doing kickboxing at one time because I had picked up that, just working it out really hard is good for my system. It was the most dysregulating thing. I had a lot of fun, actually, threw some good jabs, but I recognized that what I was fighting wasn't out there. It was actually in here. And then it took me to recognize and put down these thoughts as to like, what are these things that I'm really fighting? These could be things like traumatic childhood events. This could be beliefs that are not serving you. These could be false beliefs, pretty much, that you know isn't true about yourself, but you're still believing because that's how the world was around you and it shaped your belief. Feeling unfulfilled in life. If you're doing something that's making you unhappy, that is a form of stress as well. I'm not saying it's one thing. Of course, we're a whole moving system and we have many different things, but I'm just sharing that on a deeper level, these are where the conversations end up going. And so really working with someone who has that holistic perspective teaches you those skills. And I often get this question as to like, how is this different than therapy? Great question. I didn't go into therapy many years later because I recognized much later on what therapy even offers, which is it's really someone coaching you through your thoughts and your beliefs. And yes, I had a stigma against it too. I have learned skills on my own as well. So with a naturopath, you can really explore things about what is stress doing to your body and how to regulate them, right? So what is the right diet for you? For example, you might be under eating. That's causing stress. Maybe you have gut dysfunction. I definitely had to fix that. And that is causing stress. So stress isn't just mental, emotional. It's also physical. It's when your body's not doing well, if you're not sleeping well, if you have deficiencies, if there are toxic burdens. There's so many things to it. So there's that piece. Then there's the lifestyle piece for your unique body. And this is where we're drawing from Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine. We're talking about the individuality of a body. So for example, someone like me, thin, slim, talk fast, move fast, forget fast, learn fast. We're Vata types. And so for our body types, we need to actually be doing things that are slow to ground. As I recognize, I'm talking at a really fast pace, but this is also the pace with where people stay tuned into the video, and the excitement that I have of recording this video is probably showing up as well. So we need things that are slow. So the kickboxing and the fast running and those things, high intensity workouts, were dysregulating. For my body type also, we need to eat foods that are more grounding. And it is also a different way of preparing food. So for example, if I were to eat an apple, I would get gassy. And I knew this for my entire life. It never made sense till I picked up on the Ayurvedic science, which is for my body type who are prone to more anxiety disorders, gut disorders, joints, problems like that. I also need the apples to be cooked down and add a couple of spices to make it more friendly for my body. I call come in there. Okay. So I had to figure out that I had to correct diet a little bit. And even though you're eating good food. So, I was eating all the fruits and vegetables. I was told you have to recognize that each body has certain foods or food intolerances that might be just built into your genetic and the way that you are. For example, I love peaches. Guys, I love peaches. They do not love me. I can eat a whole bucket full of them, so keep them away from me. But they give me a lot of gas and dysregulation. Dairy, if I eat on a consistent basis, more so Canadian dairy, yes, I won't necessarily get symptoms, gut-based symptoms, and this is where food intolerances can be tricky, but I would feel fatigue. I'll get a lot of mucus after. I'll start to pick up on that brain fog. Anxiety will kick in, and this is because that we're not able to break that food type down and properly eliminate it. So there is now, of course, a science that's coming out on it. It just is something. Eggs, I never really loved eggs. Ask my mom. It was so hard for her to get me to eat eggs, but I tried, and I just don't do well with eggs. For my type, it also dries the body. So this is the piece on diet, the very individualistic piece. Then was the lifestyle piece. So lifestyle medicine is about, okay, how do you move? Are you moving the way that works for your body? How do you sleep? I'm a light sleeper. There are a lot of things I had to pick up and understand that I really needed quiet environments. I also needed a heavy weighted blanket, which really helps my nervous system and get me into deep sleep. I also need a longer winding down time. My mind needs a lot more time to deconstruct thought. And so making sure that I end at a particular time and then do nothing. So this is where we can really help the nervous system do its process. It's kind of like, when you drink coffee, some of us are going to feel jittery for longer. Some people are going to feel jittery for less. So we need to find for this individual, how long does it take for them to actually, so to speak, decompress? And this is where you might find yourself just staring at TV, watching something and not actually watching it, but you're actually just trying to get through your day in your mind and not really processing it, there's a way of processing that too. So teaching you those skills, giving you your individual set of coping skills as to like how to regulate emotions or be aware of them, how to regulate your thoughts, what are exercises and tools that you can pick up. For example, for me, it's doing this activity that I call thought cloud exercise that I formed. We actually don't have those cumulus clouds today. It's just kind of like that. But what I like to do is imagine there's one cloud, put a thought in it, move on to the second, third, and I do up to a 10, and I teach this to patients too. So there's that, there's meditation, awareness. These are the great skills that we have. Of course, if there are traumas, there are, further things that are past my capacity, that's where a counselor or therapist can come in, and I would know to resource you to them. I've also worked very closely. One of my first positions was working with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a psychotherapist. Yes, they're all different. And so recognizing who to send your patients or refer to. You might be someone who needs the help of a massage therapist, a physiotherapist, a chiropractor, an osteopath. And so as a naturopath, we're really kind of versed with the realm of medicine and trying to understand where we might need to refer you out, including specialists, so endocrinologists, gynecologists. And so in my practice, I have, great family physicians who we are able to kind of cross-talk with, refer patients, gynecologists. And so it really is about this holistic model where we're really trying to give you what you need. And then come supplements. So we talk diet, lifestyle, and then we've got supplements. So this is about things that might help you. For example, if you're going through a really stressful time, and yes, let's say you've picked up the stress regulating skills, but your stress is really going to be here, and these things are probably going to give you this much relief. So then maybe adding in things that could help you regulate your system, so your cortisol access and help with that. So we have some great herbs. Ashwagandha is picked up on social media. I've done a video on ashwagandha and how it might not be for you, especially women. Again, medicine needs to be individualized and you have to talk to your doctor. There's some great herbs that help you with that. Maybe your stress is coming from because you have deficiencies. Yes, so let's say you are someone who is a poor iron absorber and you're taking iron supplements and your iron's never budging. Did you know that iron actually helps with cognition, with dopamine? It's so important. So these are discussions that would take place in a naturopathic doctor's office. And so I hope that just by sharing some of this, giving you just a ray and a hope of light that there is more that can be done. I volunteered at the Spot Muslim Welfare Center many years ago, but it really speaks to who I am. And so I chose to wear it today for this video. So I hope this is kind of a great way to get you introduced to naturopathic medicine and connect with a doctor that you feel aligned with. There are many great naturopathic doctors out there and you can look them up in your area. You want to make sure that you feel comfortable because you're not just getting into, I always get this with patients who come in for the first time as initial patients and they're like, this is not what I expected. And so we have a meet and greet call, a complimentary free 15-minute phone call where we chat with each other and we're just trying to see like, hey, for example, if this shirt I put on me, it fits me, it might not fit another person. Do we feel comfortable? Do I feel comfortable with your case to treat it? Because I love what I do and I want to bring you to your best self. And it really brings me a lot of joy to be able to do that and call it my career, my job. For now, I don't know if this is where it'll be for the rest of my life, but I've been practicing now for over 7 years and treating, yes, a lot of women concerns. I often find that what I'm treating is a triad. It is women with hormonal concerns, not necessarily period pains, but this could be thyroid concerns. Hormones are also things like insulin, cortisol. And then there is the gut piece. So treating those with gut disorders as well. This could be, bloating that's unanswered or constipation, diarrhea, and the mental emotional concerns. So stress tends to be one of them. And anxiety. There are things that I do not treat, and so I would make that assessment once I have that call with you and then point you in the right direction. And that's it. So hope this helps you. And I also love nature. I think this is partly why I was so drawn to naturopathy is because we get to be so close to nature. We get to learn from herbs. We get to use nature as medicine. So often one of the things that I really wish I prescribed more of is nature walks, where you just wander in nature. Wandering aimlessly has been shown to help your nervous system to get out of fight or flight and get into the off mode, which is called rest, digest, repair. This is also when you're just mindlessly wandering in your thoughts or you're just doodling. We're able to kind of turn off that efficiency meter, right? And that is where the body's like, ah. So hope you have a good time wandering wherever you're at, and that this helps you and one of you.